What's up, brothers? Hope everybody's doing well out there. I wanted to come out here and shoot the shit with you guys today. I had something on my mind, so I figured I would share it with you guys. And what I want to discuss in today's video is masculinity gurus. And I don't necessarily want to take any shots at any masculinity gurus. There's a lot of them in the manosphere. Guys that sell courses that are titled, masculine, whatever, how to be masculine. And they charge high prices for these courses that are supposed to teach their audience how to be more masculine. And again, I don't want to take shots at anybody that is creating these courses. Instead, I want to drop a brutal black pill on the viewers in a positive way about why a man would find these type of courses appealing. Why would a man pay money to have a guy on YouTube teach him how to be masculine? That's what I want to go down in this video, because I know there's a lot of you guys out there that maybe consider buying these courses. Now, the brutal black pill is that in America and pretty much all across the Western world, the majority of men have been robbed of their quote-unquote masculine identity. And how have they been robbed? Well, we had a couple of things sweep through. And we've talked about this, but in today's video, hopefully I'll shed some light on this in a more informative way. We went through the sexual revolution and we went through feminism. And what this did to the dating market and to your parents, if you're one of the 50% of guys out there that grew up with a single mother, the reason why this happened is either A, because your dad was a pickup artist that pumped and dumped your mother and wanted nothing to do with you, and he was irresponsible, or B, your mother was a feminist and she divorced your father for whatever selfish reason she had. It's one of those two. And this is a big thing that the manosphere gets wrong. They like to pound on feminism, but they don't like to expose the fact that pickup artists destroy the next generation just as bad as feminism does. So neither party is innocent, and both parties, for the most part, are guilty. Now, the black pill is the fact that if you are a child that was born into this for one of those two reasons, born out of wedlock, or you went through a divorce as a child, your masculine identity was robbed of you. It is no secret that the guys and the girls that grow up with a strong, honorable father and a wonderful, loving mother in the same household, they tend to get better grades. They tend to do better even in sports. They tend to go to college. They tend to have good careers. The men tend to be masculine. They have a natural masculine identity. The women tend to be feminine. And they have good lives. They have perfect lives. But the majority of the viewers in the manosphere are on the other side of that. They fell victim to that system. That machine, that brutal machine. So as a result, they have no identity. They have no sense of self. You either have a sense of who you are, as a man, you either have a masculine identity, or you have an identity crisis. And if you're somebody that is watching a masculinity guru, or you're learning how to be a man by some guy on YouTube, you most certainly have a masculinity crisis. You have an identity crisis. And that's the black pill, first of all, that you have to understand. Okay? And before you sign up for a course and have another man teach you the masculine tricks to keep women turned on and to make women fall in love with you, or whatever it may be, I want you to kind of think about things and rationalize things and see if there's something that you can do about it on your own before you do that. Now, first of all, what is it that the people that grew up with a strong father and a strong mother and a solid, loving household, what is it that what they gained that you didn't, that you missed out on? And what it is they know who they are. They know their family last name. They know who their father is. They know who their grandfather is. They know who their forefathers are. They know who their ancestors are. So all of their morals, values, principles, and ethics, shout out Hammerhand, all of their morals, values, principles, and ethics were given to them by their mother and father. And their mother and father got it from their fathers and mothers. And they got it from their ancestry, their heritage, their culture. Okay? So if you were to ask me why I believe what I believe and why I stand for what I stand for, I would tell you directly, because that's what my father stood for. That's what my grandfathers stood for. That's what my culture stood for. That's what my ancestry stood for. That's who I am. That's what I was given. And I understand that different people have different unique backgrounds. Okay, so you might have a guy from some other part of the world who has a totally different way of thinking than you. And his version of masculinity might be different than yours, which is fine. Every culture is going to be a little bit different. But you have to take that into consideration. When you are signing up for a course to learn how to be a man and learn how to get the girls, you might be learning from somebody whose morals, values, principles, and ethics are entirely different and unacceptable to your heritage, to your family tree, to your bloodline. So it might just not work for you. It might not be for you. And if you want to learn, if you feel like you're lacking something, you're inadequate somewhere when it comes to being a man, when it comes to being masculine, holding masculine frame with women, having the courage to talk to women, maintaining relationships, leading a relationship like a man is supposed to. If you think you're lacking this skill set, before you reach out to another man on the internet to try to help guide you through that, to give you that advice and fill that void that you're lacking, I think, if at all possible, you should call your father. If at all possible, you should call your uncles, your grandfather. Look up your last name. Find out what that means. Find out where you come from. Find out what your heritage is, what your culture is about, what your ancestry did. And then you can find out why you are wired the way you are and what steps you need to take moving forward. You're a unique individual. And Americans, none of us know who we are. We're not baseball and apple pie and football. That's fucking ridiculous. That's entertainment and junk food. That's not who we are. And regardless of what color you are, what religion you are, if you're American, you don't really know much about your ancestry. You say, well, I'm American. What the fuck is that? You're wired the way you are through thousands of years of adaptation. So you might want to look at your family tree and find out where you come from and find out more about yourself, because I guarantee you, if you looked that stuff up and you had some pride and you had a sense of self, you would begin to believe in yourself. You would not need a masculinity guru to teach you how to be a man. That's just, I believe, not just my opinion on that. I believe that is a fact. And I think, that's where the masculinity crisis comes from. And furthermore, with this generation after me. I'm 37 years old, so the people that are, let's say, under the age of 30, you don't know what it was like to grow up in a household with an entire family, a mom, a dad, brothers, sisters, and there's only one telephone in the house. One telephone. So everybody knows who everybody is talking to. If your sister has a new boyfriend, everyone knows. The brothers know, the dad knows, the mom knows. Why? Because he has to call the family phone line. And whatever it is you're doing was not private. Families would sit down and eat dinner at 6 o'clock. If your grades were slipping, if you were caught smoking weed, if you got in a fight, if your sister was out partying at a nightclub and doing degenerate shit, it would be called out in front of the family. And you would hold each other accountable and grow up to be responsible adults. That's the way that would go. But I would say the people under 30, the majority of them were robbed of this privilege, the privilege of being disciplined as a kid, as a child. And furthermore, instead of one phone in the house, they all have a phone in their pocket. So the girls are talking to 20 different men at once. Who knows what age they are, who knows what sort of morals, values, principles, and ethics those guys have. But she's just sneaking around and talking to them. Men are watching porn. Young men are watching porn. They're on the dating apps. They're just trying to be pickup artists. But the worst thing that I can ever possibly imagine, I'll give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a young lady. I wasn't trying to shoot my shot or anything. We were just two adults having a conversation. She is 28 years old, single with no kids. And she brought up her views on relationships. And she said she's in an open relationship and she is into dating new men and new women, polyamory, polygamy, non-ethical monogamy, or whatever these words are. She's into all of it, right? No real commitments, just dating whoever she wants. And I pretty much knew as soon as she said that she probably grew up without a father in the household, and it's very possible she was abused in some way as a kid, or psychologically damaged in some way, because she clearly had no sense of self. So I had to ask this girl, I said, where did you learn this? Where did you learn to be this way? Where did you learn that system of values and morals? What caused you to become this person that you are today, that thinks the way you think? I had to ask her. And she couldn't come up with an answer, so I told her, I am the way I am, and I have my morals and my values because they were given to me by my mother and father and my grandparents and my uncles. I had dads to sit me down. I had a dad and I had uncles to sit me down and have talks with me about how to be a man and about what I should do with myself and what I should believe. I know where my family comes from, and I know my religion, I know my traditions, and that's where I get my identity from. That's where I get my sense of self from. And after I said that, she still didn't have an answer. And that's when I brought it up. I said, are you sure you didn't get your identity from some of your favorite music or your favorite movies, or these younger people, some of your favorite TikToks or Instagram posts or whatever? Like, is that where you got your identity from? And although she didn't give a direct answer, it was pretty obvious that the answer was yes. She got her identity from like a rap song, or some American Pie type movie, or whatever. That's where she got her identity from. And that's what you call an identity crisis. That means you have no identity. So you're susceptible to just being manipulated by anything. You can be controlled by anything. And if you're a man out there, a young man, and you're watching content on YouTube, manosphere content, you really have to question, are you one of those guys that has an identity crisis? You have no idea who you are, where you come from. You have no idea what it means to be a man. You have no idea what it means to lead a woman. You have no idea how to treat a woman in a respectful way, but still a masculine way, and get respect back. So instead you apply, weird theories that masculinity gurus teach you, how to be high value and ignore women and maintain frame and just, all this shit that they teach you. You're susceptible to hearing this stuff, and it's appealing to you because you want to be a good pickup artist. You want to be able to get the girls, the hot girls. So, you just blindly follow some of these guys, and a lot of times you spend a lot of money and put your trust in these guys that the money will be worth it. And I'm not saying that there might be some guys out there that have good advice. I'm not name dropping or calling anybody out. There might be some content creators out there that actually have good advice. I don't really know. I've never signed up for a course, but I will tell you 100%, if you were to try to convince me or one of my cousins or one of the men in my family to buy a course from a masculinity guru that's teaching you how to be a masculine man that gets the girls, we would laugh at you. There's no question. There's zero chance of any of us buying a course from a masculinity guru. And, if you're a guy out there that is thinking about doing it, again, I just want to repeat, learn who you are. Because you clearly have an identity crisis. And as I was saying, we could go on and on about the manosphere and feminism and all these different sections, but it's important that you realize that, like the pickup artists that pump and dump women, get them pregnant, and just abandon the baby, those guys are pieces of shit, and they're a dime a dozen. They're all over the place. And the selfish feminist women that divorce men for whatever bullshit selfish reason they have, they're a dime a dozen, and it's bullshit, and they don't think about what they do to the kids and what they do to an entire generation, and what the aftermath of that is. But it's still happening. It's still going on. And if you've been a victim of it, wake up and realize. First step, look up your last name, find out what that means. Second step, call your dad. If you can't call your dad, call an uncle. If you can't call an uncle, call a cousin. Get to know your family tree. Get to know your ancestry. Find out who you are. You're not just an American. You're not just a British or an Australian. You have a long heritage. You have a culture. There's reasons why you think the way you think, why your genetics are the way they are. You need to go and find out, why that is. And then you won't have this crisis. And then you can meet yourself a gal that's suitable for you. You can treat her with respect and expect respect in return and live a good life. But, this advice is free. I'm not selling you a course, so you're free to believe it or not, whatever you choose to do. And I suppose that's all I have to say in today's video. Hope this video was somewhat informative. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. But I'm going to sit back on this cold evening next to this fire. I might have me a cup of coffee. It might be chilly out here, but it's fucking aesthetic, if anything. All right, guys. That's about it for today. Until next time, see ya. Subscribe to the channel.
To the window, to the wall, until the sweat drops down my balls, until all you bitches crawl. Oh, skeet, skeet, got